Hello, I'm Susan Woods, and thank you for downloading the How to Create a Nonprofit Program Budget class. Before we get started, I ask that you please adhere to the copyright notice. All rights reserved. No part of this document may be reproduced or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of LCM Educational Resources. A little bit about me. I am Susan Woods. I started a 501c3 nonprofit organization in 2003 called Comprehensive Community-Based Solutions Incorporated. I operated two programs underneath the organization, one program called Panorama Computer Learning and another program called Emerging Leaders Mentorship Program for Black Male Youth. I provide nonprofit consulting services. I complete the 501c3 application packet for private clients, and I facilitate a broad range of classes for nonprofit leaders. I have earned two nonprofit certifications, a Certificate of Nonprofit Management from Winthrop University in 2016, and a Business Essentials of Nonprofit Management from Wake Forest University in 2015. I am a three-time graduate of Winthrop University. I earned a bachelor's degree in business administration, a Master of Arts degree in business education, and a Master of Business Administration degree. The services that I provide through Susan Woods Nonprofit Consulting Services include the following. I facilitate instructor-led classes. On the third Saturday of each month from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m., I facilitate different classes at various libraries at no charge, and that's from January through October of each year. I record DVD nonprofit classes like this one. I have a full list of the DVD classes available on my website. I provide private consulting services. I reserve the time frames of 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday Eastern Standard Time to talk to people about their nonprofit visions and to offer advice. And I also complete the 501c3 application packet from beginning to end, line by line, for private clients. How much money do you need? If you are planning to operate a program and you are seeking financial assistance in the form of grants, fundraising, or investments, you have to know how much money you need for the program. I'm always amazed when people talk to me about their programs or their desires to offer a program. I'm always amazed when I ask them, well, how much money do you need? And they don't have a concrete or specific answer. They may say things like, well, as much as you can give, or any amount will do, or we're not choosy, beggars can't be choosy, we'll take whatever you can. That's not an answer to this question. That's not telling me how much money you need. And it causes me to wonder, have you actually taken the time necessary to know how much money you need? That's a question that must be answered specifically. But before we can answer that question, we need to do a little bit of background work. We need to identify the problem, validate the problem, develop a service plan. Because every program that you create, you had to have gone through these three steps in order to know that a program was necessary. And then you create a program budget. So we're going to walk through these four steps in this class, very short class, to let you see the process and how it plays out. And at the end of this class, you should be able to answer the question, how much money do you need? Step 1, identify the problem. Janice has observed a problem in her community that impacts the youth. No art classes are available for elementary students. These students happen to come from low-income families. They live in a rural town and they have poor cognitive skills. In Janice's opinion, this is a problem because she believes that art classes can really help students perform well in all of their other classes because it allows them to be creative and use their imagination and increase their cognitive skills. So Janet sees the fact that there are no classes or no art classes in elementary schools as a problem. Now, Janet just can't say, well, I'm going to start a program and not validate the problem. And this is a mistake that a lot of people make. They're just like Janice. They see a problem in their opinion in the community and then they jump right over this step. They don't validate the problem. They just go ahead and try to solve it. But we must do a needs analysis to make absolutely sure that by not having art classes in elementary schools is a problem and it negatively impacts the students. So you have to do your school research, state research, national research, interview the clients, which are the students, interview the parents, interview the teachers, just to prove or to validate that by not having art classes in elementary schools, it is a problem. So let's say that she's done that and she's proven that there is a problem. The research states that is a problem. Okay, now that Janice has validated that there is a problem with the school not offering art classes for elementary students, she wants to provide a solution to that problem by developing a program for those students. So you can create a solution by responding to these questions. Who? The who includes the students, the fifth grade students in an elementary school who do not have exposure to art classes. What? The issue is, again, we have an elementary school that does not provide art classes for students. So Janet wants to provide art classes for those students in an elementary school. So that's the what. When? She would like to create a program for them to attend during the summer school or during the summer, in which she can offer the classes through a program that she develops. Why? Because Janet really believes that, and the research shows that, students who are exposed to art classes perform better in other classes because their cognitive skills are increased, their creativity is exposed, and they are more open to ideas and open to learning. How? The how is how she's going to offer this program. She's going to have, of course, teachers. She's going to have the supplies necessary. She's going to have the location that's conducive to learning. And she's going to, if she charges a fee, it's going to be a fee that the parents can afford. So that's the solution. The who, what, when, where, why, and how. You want to be able to answer those things when you are developing a program. Now, Janice has already written those things. She's already answered the questions for the solution. Now she needs to answer the question, how much money do you need? In order to answer that question, she has to create the program budget. And that's the purpose of this class, to learn how to create a program budget. The first thing you do is brainstorm. You just sit down, relax, have a cup of coffee, take out your notepad, and just brainstorm and write down everything you would need to operate an art class for fifth grade students. Everything you need. You just brainstorm and just write everything down. After you brainstorm and write everything down, then you categorize the expenses in 3 categories: program services expenses, operating expenses, and personnel expenses. Once you have categorized the expenses, then you assign the cost and the sources of those costs. You can't just assign costs and not provide the source of where you attained that information for the cost. And then you total all of the expenses together, and that gives you your program budget. Now, this program budget is being built for 25 children, so she plans to enroll 25 children in her summer art class. So those are the steps to creating a program budget. So let's walk through those steps quickly. Brainstorm. So I've taken the liberty to just think about some things that an art class of fifth graders would need to have: paint, posters, paper, coveralls, and all of those things, as you can see here on the screen. And as you think through what a person may need or a teacher may need to offer this kind of program, you may add some more things to this list. But that's what brainstorming is all about. It gives you an idea of what you would like to have in your program for your students to be successful in whatever it is you're planning to teach them. And Janice is planning to teach art classes during the summer for 25 students from elementary school, fifth graders. So these are some of the things that I've identified that she may need to make the class not only educational but also fun. The next step is to categorize that list, that same list. I've categorized the list into the three areas that I talked about. Program services expenses are those expenses that you would incur to offer the services directly to the students. Anything, any item that touches the students is considered program services expenses, because that's what you categorize as things that the students will have: paint, posters, paper, coveralls, handy wipes, coloring books, glue. They're going to go on a field trip. They may need an iPad, food, awards. All of those things students will use. That's what they call program services expenses. And your program services expenses should represent at least 60% of the total budget, because the IRS expects for the majority of the money that comes into your organization to be applied toward program services expenses. The next category is operating expenses, and these expenses include everything you need to operate the art classes for the fifth grade elementary school students. Cleaning supplies, facility, you're going to have to rent a space, a van, you're going to need a van to transport them back and forth, a projector in the classroom, tables, chairs, anything that you need to operate the program, then you have that here. Personnel expenses, you're going to have teachers, assistant teachers, a custodian, a van driver. All of these things are considered personnel expenses because you're going to need people to operate the program. Next, you will put everything in a program budget. This is what the actual budget will look like. Now, this budget doesn't contain everything that I listed on the other page, but I have it here just to give you an idea of how to set up your program budget. You want to have 5 columns. The first column is the description, and you can see that I've organized it in the order that I stated before: program services, operating expenses, personnel expenses, and then you have the grand total. Now, the number of units. The number of units applies to or represents the number of students in the classroom that would need the program services. So you're going to need lunch and snacks for 25 students. The per unit cost is $200. So the total cost for lunch and snacks would be $5,000. How do we get that information? From Walmart. We went to Walmart, we did our homework, and we learned the cost of lunch and snacks. Same thing for activities, the iPads, for example. We're not going to be able to buy 25 iPads, so we're going to buy 5 and have the students share. So you have 5 iPads at approximately $500 a piece, $2,500. And where did you get that information? The Apple website. So you can read the rest of this budget just to see how it is laid out. And this is a great way to provide a visual of your program budget for people who are planning to invest in your program. This is a great visual aid for them to use so that they can see exactly how much money you need. And at the bottom, the grand total is $16,600. So that's how much money you need, $16,600. The next step is meet with the board of directors. Now you've already gotten your board. You've already gotten your budget completed. You know that you need $16,600. So you want to meet with the board and discuss the program with the board of directors, present the budget, and request approval for the budget. And then once the board approves the budget, then you want to notify your team that the budget has been approved so that you can now start the fundraising process of writing grants, having fundraising events, and just asking people for money to support this art classes for fifth grade elementary school students during the summer. Well, thank you. I hope that this free How to Create a Program Budget class has helped you answer the question, how much money do you need? Thank you so much. I'm Susan Woods, owner of Susan Woods Nonprofit Consulting Services. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me at 704 968 2769. Have a good evening.